Hey everybody, this is Zach Mullins here. I'm going to show you guys how I wrap up blobs and get them shipped out. I happen to have a 105 Legacy blob that I'm getting ready to ship to Colorado, so I'm just going to kind of run you through the process and stuff you're going to need. You're going to need a medium flat rate box from the Postal Service, and the limit for this is like 70 pounds. So for shipping blobs, you can pretty much ship the smaller blobs, 2 in the same box. You can work all the way up to a half 130 Legacy, which is a Blobzilla, and that should always come in under 70 pounds. So really any size blob will fit in a medium flat rate box. That's going to be $17.10 right now. So as opposed to going to like UPS or using your own box, it might cost $100 or more to ship it. Especially when you're shipping things that are 50 plus pounds, 60 plus pounds. So going ahead and getting the medium flat rate box, the first thing you're going to want to do, and get the shipping label with it. Other than that, you can get some bubble wrap. It doesn't have to be bubble wrap, it could be anything just to fill space in the box. But I usually just get some $2-3 bubble wrap from the dollar store, duct tape, and then I just keep some scrap cardboard so I can kind of reinforce the inside of the box. So I'll go ahead and show you how I get started here with the taping. So basically I'll just fold this down, and you don't have to run the tape through the middle, you can just seal it up. The biggest thing is that the box is just closed, and the biggest thing is that the blob actually just gets to where it's going. But sometimes I'll run tape over the center part here before I fold everything down. But there's a lot of different ways you can do it. This is just how I usually do it. So I got that in the center there, just kind of holding everything in. Then I'll run tape across it. And I'm basically just going to start making like a grid and like a web or a net, basically, just to hold this inside. Because the biggest thing that happens with blobs is if somebody leaves too much space in the box, as people are throwing it, dropping it, and rolling it around, it'll beat up the box, tear it up, and the blob will break out and get lost. And the last thing you want is somebody spending $200-300 or sometimes more money and getting an empty box, because it's definitely happened to some people. So then I'll just go down, basically cross everything up there. Then, like I said, I'll usually start making like a grid from that point, just to kind of reinforce all the corners. And I will say the one thing I try to do, just like that, is, I'll get to that point, I just about messed up, but I'll always try to leave the barcode or the medium flat rate lettering showing. Because if I go in with a box that's just completely taped up, they don't know if it's a flat rate box or whatever. So I at least leave the barcode open and the medium flat rate showing, so they know it's a medium box and they can at least scan it at a minimum. So I always try to leave that, at least one of those labels or barcodes open. That way they don't get annoyed at the post office. Like I said, I'll just basically keep crossing, so I kind of just made a grid there. I'll come back on that other side, same thing. The biggest thing too when shipping one is, once you have like the whole box gridded up like that, and I'm going to do the top and everything once I get it in there, but once you have that, I mean, it should hold anyway, but there's no limit on the amount of tape you can use. So how important it is or how much you want to use, you could use a whole roll of duct tape and just secure it. So once you get everything in place, in theory, if this box just disappeared, at least there should be a web or net of duct tape at least holding the blob in. There's no way it shouldn't get to where it's going. So that's the biggest thing. And once I kind of hit the bottom, I'll run around the edges of it just to make sure that the corners are good. All right, so basically that'd be the bottom. I'm gonna have at least one row of tape going around the corner, and I'll eventually hit the top too, but for right now, that'll at least get it started. So next thing I'll do is I'll take any scrap cardboard or anything just to kind of reinforce the box, and I'll usually take this and kind of line it up with the same width of the box here. That way I'm pretty much just making two boxes out of one. So I'll just cut that. And like I said, it doesn't have to be pretty, it doesn't really matter as long as you reinforce the box, fill up all the space in the box, and the blob gets there. Nothing else really matters. So I don't try to like make everything perfect or spend too much time messing with it. So something like that. That way when I go to throw this in there, it should almost fit. And sometimes that tape that I threw on the bottom side there will actually kind of just stick and keep that locked in place. But then that's just going to make that opening a little more secure. And then from there, I'll kind of line the sides, because I don't want the corner right there where this box can split. I don't want that busting open or anything. So I usually kind of line the inside with some like skinnier pieces of cardboard. And I'll just take something, I mean, just as simple as that, whatever, and kind of throw it in the corner. And I'll just do that to all the corners right there, or just kind of wrap it in case the blob up. So I'll do that for all the sides. And like I said, you don't even have to really make this too specific. Scissors, box cutter, whatever, but I mean, I could even just tear it. And as long as it fits in there, I can pretty much start just reinforcing the box. And you don't even have to do that. I mean, the duct tape alone would probably hold it. I just always try to do a couple extra measures. You know, the box is reinforced, okay. I have so much tape around it, there's no way it can roll out. Like I said, basically when I have a blob leave here or I ship it, the only way it's not gonna get to where it's going is if the postal people just don't do their job. So I just don't want it to be my fault if I'm shipping something that somebody paid for. I don't want to be the reason it doesn't get there. All right, so really, like I said, it's kind of sloppy, but it doesn't really matter what it looks like. I'm just kind of taking up some space inside that box, and then I'll throw some bubble wrap in there. Just kind of fill up some of the bottom. And I'll usually take this, kind of just throw it in there, kind of fold it up a couple times, just to get the bottom started. There are times where I'll actually wrap the actual blob itself up and tape it. Sometimes that's easier to kind of fill space, but like I said, either way, as long as you're filling the space up, it doesn't matter. So I usually get something like that kind of started. And like I said, I can either wrap the blob up and tape it, or I can just throw it in here and start filling space around it. So if I go to put it in here, what I'll do sometimes, at least with Legacies, because they have this giant, if you can see this Legacy blob, on this side it's flat, on this side it has like the big slope. I usually put the slope down, that way I can close the top a little bit easier, give me a little bit more space. So yeah, if you can see that, that's pretty much, fits real easy, it's real flat. I can close all this up. I don't have to like worry about, you know, box opening or anything. So once I get the blob in it, like I said, I'm just filling the space. Doesn't really matter how you do it. I'll just start folding the bubble wrap up and kind of stuffing it in the corners, just making sure that this thing doesn't roll around and move when people are dropping it or it's moving from place to place. Just making sure all the corners are full, kind of wrapping this thing up. Like I said, a lot of what I'm doing might be a little bit overkill, but I'm just making sure that this thing actually gets where it's supposed to be. All right, so from there, I pretty much have everything closed in. Not a whole lot of space anywhere. Then I'm just gonna go ahead and fix up the top. I don't always do this, but sometimes I'll even kind of do like a longer strip across the center here. And I'll show you how I fold it down. So I'll take something a little bit longer so it won't really fit in the box, and I'll just kind of fold the corners down. So I kind of fold that there, kind of fold that on the other side, and that'll kind of wrap everything in. That way when I go ahead and throw this over the top, I'll usually connect to the tape that I already started. And then that will kind of go right over the center there. From there, it's just a matter of finishing basically what you started with the grid. And just making sure, like I said, that you at least have a barcode or something that they can see or scan. That way they don't get annoyed or give you any trouble. Like I said, from there I'm just making a full grid all the way across. And I'm just going to keep crossing over with each strip of tape, just going to keep crossing it over. And then the last thing to do would just be throw the shipping label on. So real quick, let's just say in theory that I had this whole thing taped up. Because I normally would probably go over this a couple more times just to really wrap everything up. Go around this top a few times, go across this way. That way I'm kind of making that grid here. And then at the very end, I'll even tape like all the way around the center, all the way around the center this way. And then all you're doing from there is just putting that shipping label on there and then shipping it off. And that's 17 bucks, and you can pretty much ship anything up to 70 pounds. So for anybody shipping blobs, or if anybody's ever trying to ship you a blob and they say, oh, it's going to be $200-300, but shipping's going to be 60 bucks. You just already know they're lying, or they just don't know what they're doing. So whether you're the seller and you're helping someone out, or whether you're the buyer and you're going to help yourself not get ripped off, pretty much any blob you're sending, it's able to ship for $17. And if anybody says anything else, they're either lying or they just don't know. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, obviously you'd want to reinforce the box as much as you can, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, hope that helps.